Greetings, my empire. Drezu here, back with another video, and today I'm coming with a build that I'm actually not excited to bring to y'all, man, because this build is absolutely broken and absolutely unfair. Like, I know I'm a content creator, ESO content creator, and I bring the boys the builds, the good builds, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know if I want multiple people running around with this build, bro, because it's just absolutely unfair. Today, I'm going to be bringing to y'all my Magicka Sorcerer PvP build, man. And why I say this build is unfair is because, bro, when I say this build has everything, I literally mean this build has everything. Really good damage, really good sustain, really good healing, really good freaking resource sustain, really good mobility. This build has it all. It doesn't fall off anywhere, bro. It is absolutely insane, bro. Today I'm bringing out my Magicka Sorcerer PvP build. Now, before I get into the build, you already know I want to ask y'all to hit the like button, subscribe, join the empire. Let's get me to 400 subscribers. Let's get the empire to 400 subscribers. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate the support that's been on my channel. You feel me? Now, without further ado, let's get into the build, man. First, let's get into the stats, man. Bro. This build is broken, bro. It's just so unfair. The build just seems unfair, bro. Getting into the stats, we have 33k maximum Magicka, 1,840 Magicka recovery, 27, almost 28,000 maximum health, 24,000 health recovery. Usually, I say health recovery is trash in most of my builds, but on this build, we actually have a decent amount of health recovery. Like, even in PvP, we have, above 1,200 health recovery in PvP. So the health recovery is actually not bad, you feel me? So we have a really decent health recovery pool. We have 19,000 maximum stamina, which I'm really proud of, bro. This is a really good amount of stamina, especially on a Magicka character, you feel me? Really good. We have 766 stamina recovery. And don't take these recovery. Please don't take these recoveries at face value. The Magicka and stamina recovery, because they do go up. Once I buff up, I'm gonna show you how much they go up. Spell damage, we have 3,368. Spell penetration, we have 6,793. Now for the spell damage, that's another thing you shouldn't take at face value, because our spell damage does go up once we get into the sets. You gonna know, man. Now, going into the back bar for our resistances, we have 24k spell resistance unbuffed, 22k physical resistance unbuffed, and we have 1,940 critical resistance. Now, buff stats. Buff resistances first, we have 30k spell resistance, 28k physical resistance. Now, as you can see on this build, we have a really good amount of resistances and a decent amount of health pool. That's just because, I feel like in this meta right now, it's so easy to take out shields. Like, you can, shields go down in like 2-3 seconds, bro. So having bulkiness to back up those shields is really good. So to have a really good amount of physical and spell resistance, including a good amount of health as well, is really good to back up our shields. And once our shields is down, we're not just gonna flop. We're gonna have stuff to back it up. Plus we have the health recovery too, to get our health up as well. So we have bulkiness to back up our shields. Now let's go into the damage. So buff damage. For the buff damage, we have 4,437 spell damage buff. Now, you've seen that little purple thing on top of the Bone Goliath. If you know what set that is, you know why our spell damage goes up in sets. If you don't know what it is, we're going to get into that once we get into the sets. You know what I'm saying? But that's our buff spell damage. Now, let's show you our buffed recoveries. So buff recoveries, we have 2,316 maximum Magicka recovery, and we have 1,234 stamina recovery buff. Now I know what y'all might be thinking in your head. How do I have so much recoveries? Where am I getting those recoveries from? And you just gonna have to wait until I get into the sets. We are running crazy sets on this build. Now for the attributes, we are running 64 64 into the Magicka attribute. For the race, we are running high elf. Now I like to run high elf because high elf has, you know, just stats that, you know, go really well with Magicka Sorcerer. Especially this stat right here. I want you to pay attention to the second part. It says when you are using an ability with a channel or cast time, you take 5% less damage. So when we're using Dark Deal, we're basically going to get damage mitigations while we're using it, which is really good. You know, just to make us bulkier while we're trying to get our resources up. And you know, high elf has really good other passes. We get 2,000 maximum Magicka. We get weapon and spell damage when we activate an ability. We get Magicka or stamina, whichever pool is the lowest. Really good. High elf, I feel like, is the best race for Magicka Sorcerer. You can run Brett and you can run Dark Elf, but High Elf is just gonna do you the best. For the food, we are running Bewitched Sugar Skull. This is gonna give us a good amount of maximum health, Magicka and stamina, and health recovery to boot as well. So as a, you know, as a Magicka Sorcerer or a sorcerer in general, you want, you want everything. You want Magicka and stamina, you know, because you benefit from both of those pools. So this food is just really good, and to give us the health, max health and the health recovery is just icing on the cake. For the boon, we are running the Astronauts to give us 363 Magicka recovery. Now we do have a lot, and when I mean a lot, I mean a lot of Magicka recovery on this build. Even the buff Magicka recovery I showed y'all is not even the max amount of, you know, Magicka recovery we have. We didn't even take in account of potions, you know, and just abilities in general, which I'll get into. We have a lot of Magicka recovery. So if you want to replace the boon Astronaut with something like the Apprentice or the Lover, you can. This is just me, but I just prefer more Magicka pool, you feel me? I love just never running out of magic, just having an infinite amount of Magicka or resources in general. But if you, like I said, if you want to, you can replace this with the Apprentice. But me, I like the Astronaut. So it's whatever you want to do. Now, getting into the gear. Actually, before we get into the gear, let's go into the potions first. Potions, I run triple play potions. This gives us health, Magicka, and stamina, and the recoveries for all of those things. So on top of the Magicka recovery we have, we're gonna get extra when we pop this. Absolutely ridiculous, bro. Now, getting into the gear. On our front bar, we are running Spell Strategist. That was the little orb that, you know, pops up on top of his head. Is Spell Strategist. We have the weapon and damage enchantment on. We have sharpened on the Inferno Staff. And what Spell Strategist does is it gives us a line of Magicka. It gives us a line of weapon and spell damage. It gives us another line of weapon and spell damage. Then, when you deal damage with a light attack, you place a mark over the target's head for 5 seconds, granting you 444 weapon and spell damage against your marked target. This effect can occur every 4 seconds. You feel me? Now, the reason I like this set, not only does this give you you know, really good damage towards the target that you light attack, but this set kind of forces you to have tunnel vision. As a Magicka Sorcerer, you don't want to focus on multiple targets. As a Magicka Sorcerer, you want to focus on one target and getting them out the way, you feel me? Focus on one target, get them out the way, focus on the next target, you feel me? And this set kind of forces you to have that tunnel vision, you know, to completely eradicate your target, because they have that bubble on them while they have that circle above them, you know. you do all the damage you need to do. You know what I'm saying? You hit them with your frags, hit them with your spam moves, hit them with your a haunting curse, and you completely just wipe the person out. So really good. I really like what's it called, spell strategist. That forced tunnel vision is really good to have on a Magicka sorcerer. Now on the back bar, we are running the Black Rose Restoration staff. I have the Absorb Magicka enchantment. You can run any enchantment you want. I have the Absorb Magicka enchantment just in case if somehow our Magicka is low for some reason. I don't know what circumstance we will be in, but just in case, when we heavy attack with our Restoration staff, with the Absorb Magicka enchantment, we're gonna get even more Magicka. But like I said, you can run anything you want. You can run any enchantment you want on the back bar. This is the enchantment I run. We have defending on the back bar too to increase our physical and spell resistance. Then what the Black Rose Restoration staff does is, when you apply Steadfast Ward on the target, you gain Major Vitality that increases your healing taken on your target by 16%. So the reason why this is so good is because Magicka Sorcerer is not known for their healing, but with this Mender's Ward, you feel me, this gives us a ridiculous amount of healing, giving us Major Vitality. So when we pop this on ourselves, when we pop Steadfast Ward on ourselves, we're gonna get Major Vitality. So you pop this, then you want to pop something like Dark Convergence, and you just get a ridiculous amount of healing, you feel me? So even though we're a Magicka sorcerer, in general, we don't get a lot of healing. With this, we're gonna get a really good amount of heals, you feel me, from having a Mender's Ward on and getting the Major Vitality. So really good. That's why I run Black Rose Inferno staff. This idea, bro, this staff was hard to get. I ain't gonna lie. I had to run Black Rose Prisons like 20 times to get the staff. Now, before I even get, because bro, you already see this. You already see how I'm coming, man. Before I get into this, for our armor, we are running 3-piece heavy, and I said 3. We are running 4 heavy pieces and 3 light pieces. You want impenetrable on all the pieces. I have divines on 2 pieces because I was playing around divines. If you want to play around with traits like divines or reinforced or some of the pieces, you can. But I'm running 4 heavy, 3 light. You want the multi-effect enchantment on your head, chest, and legs. Then you want the maximum Magicka enchantment on all the other little pieces. You know what I'm saying? So now, get into the gear on our body. We have Gaze of Sithis. Now, what Gaze of Sithis does is it gives us 3,200 health, maximum health. It gives us 1,025 health recovery, 4,000 armor, and reduces your block mitigation to 0%, to 0, which is basically not even a debuff to us because we're Magicka sorcerer. You shouldn't be blocking regardless. Like, as a Magicka sorcerer, unless you're running like a sword and shield build on Magicka sorcerer, which is a rare build, you shouldn't be blocking to sustain yourself. The only time you should be blocking is to disrupt the channel or something like that. But in terms of blocking to keep yourself up, you shouldn't do that. You feel me? You're a Magicka, you shouldn't do that. So having our block mitigations reduced by 0 is basically nothing. It's basically not a debuff to us because we don't block. So basically what this piece, what Gaze of Sithis is giving us, is just essentially all buffs. We're getting crazy amount of sustain. We're getting a ridiculous amount of maximum health. We're getting a ridiculous amount of recoveries, and we're getting a ridiculous amount of armor. So this one piece alone is just giving us all we need to back up our shields and to make us bulky without shields. You feel me? Even though we have shields on top of this. Now, for the second 5-piece set, we are running Wretched Vitality. Now, Wretched Vitality, this is easily the best set for Sorcerer in the game right now, bro. It's just too good. You feel me? One of the best recovery set for ESO PvP. Now, what this set does is it gives you a line of maximum Magicka recovery. It gives you a line of stamina recovery. It gives you a line of weapon and spell damage. Then, while in combat, applying a major buff or debuff to a target grants you 260 Magicka and stamina recovery for 15 seconds. While in combat, applying a minor buff or debuff on the target grants you 130 Magicka and stamina recovery for 15 seconds. You can stack these two, so when you have these two stacks, you have a total of 390 Magicka and stamina recovery when you have these both, applied. This is so good because you don't have to apply the buff to an enemy target. You can apply the buff to yourself. So basically in combat, you're going to get 390 Magicka and stamina recovery. See, look, bam, procking my major resolve, then bam, procking minor prophecy. We get both of those, and look at our Magicka and stamina recovery. Increase like crazy. This is just really good on Sorcerer in general because Sorcerer, like I said, utilizes both Magicka and stamina recovery a lot. Their Magicka and stamina pool. So this set is easily one of the best sets for Sorcerer. For our shoulder, we are running the Dami Husk shoulder. Now, the reason I'm running Dami Husk on the shoulder because it gives us Magicka and stamina on the first piece. I wanted the light piece. I wanted this to be, 4-piece light and 3 heavy on the body. But I couldn't get a light piece of Dami Husk for the life of me, bro. So I just stuck with the heavy piece. Either way, we're good. Just the heavy piece is going to give you more, tankiness instead of damage. If you want to run damage, you run the light piece. If you want more sustain, you run the heavy piece. Now on the jewelry, we are running spell strategies of jewelry, Magicka recovery on all of them, and arcane on all of them. So it's crazy how we have Magicka recovery on our jewelry and we somehow still have all that spell damage. This build just has everything we need, bro. Now, getting into the skills on our front bar. First skill we have is Force Pulse. Force Pulse is going to be our spammable. Does flame, frost, and shock damage. And for this morph, when it does damage to up to 2 by nearby enemies when they have a status effect on them. You can run the other morph that disrupts channeling or disrupts casting. But I find myself getting the damage to the 2 nearby enemies sometimes when I'm in PvP, so I like to run Force Pulse. But if you want to run the other morph, you can. Doesn't matter. Force Pulse is really decent spammable, does really good damage, and yeah. Haunting Curse. What this ability does is, it puts a curse on somebody's body that explodes after 3.5 seconds. Then it will linger on and deal another explosion after 8.5 seconds to the target and nearby enemies. Basically, you want to revolve your burst around Haunting Curse because, this can really get people out the way. This does amazing damage. So you kind of want to, have your burst revolved around Haunting Curse when you place this on an enemy. Make sure you're doing damage and getting the target to the point where Haunting Curse can just wipe them out. Next, we have Streak. You already know what Streak is. Flash forward, deal shock damage. It's a stun and increases. The cost increases if you do it within 4 seconds of each streak. So this is a really good ability, to get out of situations. Say you're getting dogpiled and you have a lot of people on you. Not only will you get distance with this ability, but you're gonna stun everybody who is, in your path. If you spam this, you'll use a lot of Magicka, but we're Magicka Sorcerer, so we could spam this because we could just get our Magicka back easily with little to no problem. Crystal Fragments. Shoot a crystal at an enemy, does magic damage. When you do it, your next non-ultimate ability is reduced by 10%. It costs 10% less. Casting a Magicka ability gives a 35% chance to cause your next crystal fragment to be instant and deal 66% more damage and cost 50% less. So basically, when you're using crystal fragment, the only time you want to use the ability is when it turns red. So bam, you see it turns red, we get the crystal frag, boom. You want to use it anytime it's red, because not only is it going to increase the damage, it's going to cost less, and it's going to have no cast time. So you don't want to proc the ability like this, because first of all, it has a cast time and it does less damage. You want to do it like this. Next ability we have is Elemental Drain. This is going to be our source of Major Breach. That's going to reduce our target's physical and spell resistance by 6,000, and also apply minor Magicka Steel to the enemy for 22 seconds, causing you and your allies to restore 168 Magicka. We already have enough Magicka recovery on the build. This is just icing on the cake. Really, really good. Just even more Magicka sustain that we don't really need, but we have. For our ultimate, we are running Energy Overload. Now, if you want to run Meteor as your ultimate, you can. I personally don't like running Meteor because I feel like it's too predictable. I was gonna grind up you know, Mage's Guild just to get Meteor, but I feel like it's too predictable. People can see it coming. Every time a Meteor is shot at me, I just buff up, you know, do a heal, a pre-heal, and basically just mitigate pretty much like 80% of the Meteor damage. But if you want to run Meteor, you can. I run Energy Overload. Energy Overload is not the best ultimate. I feel like that's the only place that Sorcerer lacks in is ultimates. They don't really have two good ultimates, but Energy Overload is decent. Our light attacks restore Magicka. Our light attacks deal shock damage, a really good amount of shock damage to enemies. Our heavy attacks become an AoE shock, which is really cool once you look at it. It feels like I'm in like Star Wars or something, and you know, using the lightning and stuff is really cool when you use that. But basically, you just want to use Energy Overload. Just to, if you want to add more burst to your rotation, you can. You feel me? Energy Overload is clunky though, because the basic is not like a regular basic. Like it has a travel time. Like as you can see, bam. It has a bit of a travel time. It takes kind of long. You kind of only want to use it when you're like right there next to the enemy, because you can proc it easily. See, like regular basics, you know what I'm saying? It's that easy to, you know, travel to the enemy. But this has a bit of a travel time, a bit of a delay. But like I say, you want to use it when you're close, maybe. And you could get Magicka from this as well. If you're somehow low on Magicka, you could just use this to get your Magicka back. So much Magicka can sustain on the build. You should never run out of Magicka on this build, just because all the stuff we have. You feel me? Now on the back bar, we are running Hardened Ward. Hardened Ward, you know, gives us 16,000 damage shield, and this caps at 60% max health. So really good shield. Yeah, shield to keep you up. Healing Ward, this is going to give us an 8,000 damage shield. The shield is going to increase by 100% depending on if you're hurt or not. You're really hurt. So basically, you want to pop Healing Ward when you're like low on health. You pop this and you get a 100% increase to your shield. And while the shield persists, the target is healed for 33% of the shield's remaining strength. So not only we getting a good shield when we're low on health, we're gonna get a heal, and plus with the Black Rose restoration staff, we're gonna get even more healing because we have Major Vitality with the shield. Next, we have Dark Convergence. This is basically gonna turn we're gonna trade in stamina for Magicka and health. We bargain with darkness, we get health and Magicka, then we get an additional amount of Magicka over 20 seconds. Ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Just even more Magicka sustain what it is. It's honestly making me throw up how much Magicka we have on this build, bro. Critical Surge. We have this is our social Major Brutality, which is going to increase our spell damage by 20%. While we have this active, critical damage heals us for a certain amount of health. You know, we don't really care about the second part because we're not going to really be critting. I think we only have like 14% crit chance on this build. Really, we're just using this to get our major sorcery. But I guess the heal from critting is nice sometimes, so yeah. Boundless Storm, this is going to be our source of Major Resolve that's going to increase our physical spell resistance by 5,948. And this is also going to be an AoE around our body that's going to do shock damage to enemies 5 meters away from us for 23 seconds. Activating this ability gives us major expeditions for 4 seconds. So this is why Magicka Sorcerer, or Sorcerer in general, has so much you know, mobility, because not only do we have access to streak, we do have access to a major expedition as well, which is really good. Major expedition and our major resolve, you know, our buff, which is really good. We have temporal guard. Now the reason I run this all simply is, for one, we get the so we can have the shield on our back bar, the Sigil shield. Two, because of the minor protection that reduces our damage taken by 5%. And you know, this is a kind of good a kiting ability. If you take, you know, really big damage, you could just use this, reset, and get your health back easily. Really good. If you want to, you could run something like the Greatest Storm Astronaut in the back bar if you want. But me personally, I run, you know, Temporal Guard for everything I just said. Now, done with the skills, let's get into the champion tree. Now, for the champion points, for the blue tree, I'm running Master at Arms. That's going to increase our direct damage by 10%. Deadly Aim, that's going to increase our single target attacks by 10%. Wrathful Strikes, that's going to give us 165 spell damage to our abilities. And Untamed Aggression, that's going to give us 150 spell damage. Now for the red tree, we are running Bastion. This is going to increase the effectiveness of our shields by 15%. And the damage, our damage done against shielded enemies by 15% as well. Really good. Relentlessness, when we are stunned, feared, we get major protection for 3 seconds. That's going to reduce your our damage taken by 10%. So this is just going to be really good for overall sustain. We have Sustained by Suffering, which increases your health, Magicka, and stamina by 150 when we have a negative effect on. Just more this Magicka and stamina recovery to boot. Bro, I think I tested it out at peak Magicka recovery. I think at peak, like when we have our potion you know, popped, we have, you know, a minor Magicka lifesteal and stuff like that. We have over 3,000 Magicka recovery peaked, which is absolutely insane, bro. Absolutely insane. Fortified, we have 1,731 armor with the fortified stat. So just to increase our bulkiness overall. And for the green tree, I'm not gonna, you know, explain. You want to put what I have, you can. No matter. And that's pretty much the build, man. Like I said, this build just seems so broken to me. We have really good damage, like I said, with you know, spell strategies and everything. We have really good damage, really good bulkiness with Gaze of Sithis, our shield, good healing with you know, the Black Rose you know, restoration staff. We have good health recovery. We have 1,200 health recovery for even more sustain. An absolute insane amount of resources for you know, resource recovery, especially for our Magicka recovery. Like I said, peaked we're sitting at about 3,000, above 3,000 Magicka recovery peaked, where you're not gonna have any problems with Magicka. Like I said, if you feel like you really want to put more into your damage, you can replace the Astronaut Mundus if you want. If you want to put more into your damage, this is really just you probably should take the Astronaut Mundus off to put more damage, because we have too much Magicka recovery as it is. But like I said, I personally like to have a higher Magicka recovery pool, so I, you know, personally keep it on. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, this build has everything. I've had so much fun in Citadel and Imperial City. It's like I'm unkillable. I never run out of resources, and I just shred people. It's absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this build, man. Man, I don't want to see people running around with this build, bro. This is broken. It's just unfair, bro. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed the video, man. If y'all did, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, join the Empire. Like I said, let's get us to 400 subscribers. Let's keep the empire growing. I appreciate the support on the channel. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Drezu Empire out. I'm gonna see.